Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast. Episode 150 here. Altai, joined this week by the one, the only...
Remo.
Yeah.
I was just appreciating the ASMR voice before I said anything.
All right.
Hey, you really should do a Korean ASMR. Maybe it'll be your passion in life.
Yeah, that's true. You know, we gotta. Here's the thing. If you guys don't support my ASMR, it proves it's sexual. Okay. Therefore, if you're an ASMR fan in chat, you have to give me money when I do it. Otherwise, you prove me right. There you go.
There you go. If you don't want to be a hater, you gotta do it.
You gotta reverse psychology then.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think too many people are afraid to try putting themselves out there. Whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's Twitch streaming. You know, even if you get nobody watching you, even if it doesn't go anywhere, it's always good to put yourself out there. You never know. You might be the next big thing. You know, it could be a fluke, it could be anything, and who knows? Maybe your ASMR could be this amazing phenomena.
That would actually be weird because I hate it so much that if I get big at it, I'll be like, I don't know. It'd be like trolling. I would just be trolling.
We could make a troll ASMR. We're gonna put it on the MMOs.com YouTube channel. If nobody likes it, nobody likes it. Who cares? You know, legit. You have a task. All right. In the next couple weeks.
Somebody find me a script. Someone find me a script to do in post game or something.
No. You gotta make your own script, and it's gotta come from the soul. God. Just do it without a script, right? Do it without a script, and you might go on some crazy Jew conspiracy, whatever you gotta do.
Whoa,
okay. And just go with it, all right? Speak your soul out. Altai ASMR coming. Hopefully next couple weeks, it's gonna happen, boys. It's gonna happen.
The propaganda of the future is gonna be an ASMR voice. You know, like the next Goebbels will be like, we must bomb the Jews. I don't know.
Whoa.
It's going to be an ASMR voice, though. All
right. Before we get too off topic, Altai, take us to the weekly raid.
All right. So, this week, as many of you may or may not know, Worlds Adrift has finally gone on Steam. Steam Early Access launch, and they're doing a lot of media blitzing. So they were on a whole bunch of interviews. I read the one on the Games Industry Biz, which I recommend. It's a really good interview. And they did basically talk about how they rely on their users to create all the islands in the game. So I didn't even know this until I read this. I don't know if you did. Mm-hmm. So all the islands in the game are actually created on this a tool made available with the game called the World Adrift Island Tool. And basically every island you can visit is made by players. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. What's crazy is that we don't see this kind of technology, this kind of user-created content applied elsewhere. I played World of Drift quite a bit when it first launched. This was over 2 years ago now. So it just launched on early access. I guess it was an alpha before. But that's a game they should make the content made by players. They should make those islands made by players. It would just spice the game up a lot. There's no reason to do that themselves.
Well, I was just surprised by the level of it, the amount of user-generated content. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering this week then, so here's a weekly raid. Can user-generated content work in MMOs? It's worked wonders in so many genres, right? Entire genres were born with user-created content. Counter-Strike was a mod. Dota was a mod. Battle Royale was a mod. And, we all grew up playing a lot of those Warcraft 3 mods, StarCraft maps. And it hasn't really taken off in the same way for the MMO genre. You had a few games try it. If you guys played Minecraft... Notch, the guy who made Minecraft, before that, he worked on a game called Worm Online, which is a super interesting MMORPG where you can basically, alter the world, build your own house and stuff. But it never really took off. It was too complicated, too slow. It didn't really work that well. It's still around, though. You can try it, but it just doesn't have a big player base. You had games like EverQuest Next, Landmark, kind of with the same thing, where Landmark was supposed to...
Those games never really launched, though.
Exactly.
Really happened.
Well, Landmark was like an early beta access something, but it never really took off. That's my point. So, even things like add-ons. Do you remember when WoW came out? We had so many add-ons. We could change the entire UI. Anything was possible with the UI within WoW. You could have databases of items. You could have the things that scrape the auction house and update you built-in. And that was back in 2004. Since then, I feel like even the add-ons have retreated. So many games now, like Final Fantasy 14, for example, just flat out don't allow any add-ons. They're banned if you use those shit. So
wait, they're against the terms of service, so it kind of discourages it on a larger level.
Yeah,
everyone still uses them. People some of the big Final Fantasy 14 streamers do stream with ACT and a few other plugins installed. So it's not allowed, which is kind of sad because obviously when something's not allowed, even if it's unenforced, not allowed, it does discourage it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. My point is, it's under the retreat, despite being so prevalent back in 2004 with WoW. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, there are some games, more modern games, that do allow it. For example, got another sub. Thank you, Leaf.
Thank you, Leaf. Mucho love, fan.
So some games do allow it. Like Elder Scrolls Online has some heavy add-ons. But again, nothing to the scale of even WoW, which was from 2004. But the things are turning around a little bit, and we talked a lot about MapleStory 2 in the past few weeks. As you guys have seen the screenshots, there's a lot of player-made housing, custom designs for your shirts and equipment, and of course, Worlds of Drift we just mentioned with the islands. So, Omar, what do you think? Will user-created content finally work in MMOs?
I think it has to work. It's not even definitely if it will work. It has to work because that's really the next logical step towards doing something different in MMORPGs. Because I think over the years we've kind of seen so many companies, like even Western companies, kind of throw money at the MMO genre. Nothing's really stuck like super hard on the PC front. We've had a lot of mobile games do really well, but like there hasn't really been any big innovation on like PC MMORPGs since like basically World of Warcraft. I mean, ESO has found some success because maybe the Elder Scrolls game is very strong. It's still a good game, but there really hasn't been anything big. And I think in order to get something big, you have to do something like radically different. And I think PUBG being super successful once again brought the success of mods and like how much modding can improve, like can contribute to gaming. I think what's his name? Brendan Green was on the H3H3 podcast talking about modding and how he started with the Arma mod for Battle Royale and how that's progressed. And we've seen so many literal billion-dollar genres come out of like mods. So it'd be crazy for MMORPGs to kind of ignore this going forward because there's nothing else left to try. They gotta do something different, and it's pretty phenomenal to see that we haven't seen an MMORPG being built with player-created content yet. I mean, Minecraft, which is not really an MMO, but like Minecraft has done so well with basically players create everything. We have seen some attempts with Neverwinter, and I think actually did a really good job because I played Neverwinter to max level.
You're
by
right.
the way, when it first came out, and some of my most fond memories in Neverwinter are not from the game's regular story. Which, by the way, the game's regular story is quite good. It has it's written by one of the guys of the Forgotten Realms. There's like real D&D lore built into Neverwinter. It's actually definitely one of the better storytelling games out there for MMORPGs, considering most story-driven MMORPGs suck. That's one of the better ones out there. But some of my most fond memories from Neverwinter were from I forgot what it's called now. There's dungeons and stories that players can create that you can run through in these instance areas. It's like in its own area though, so it's like not part of the game world directly. You just kind of zone into it, and then from there you take on a player-made story, player-made dungeon. And some of these they're still in the game today, and that's my most fond memories come from that part of the game where players made this content. It's unfortunate that I guess they didn't build that out more, and that didn't become the focus of the game. But I think that's actually still a really interesting step. And if you I recommend giving Neverwinter a try even today, just for that alone, just to see where that can take you, and just see some of the player-made levels and see what came out of it. I think it's a huge positive. It's just kind of sad that we haven't seen any of the game even try that since then. But it's got to happen.
I think Neverwinter is a great game to try anyway. If you haven't tried it yet, it's a great free. As far as free to play MMORPGs go, it's it's a really good one. So definitely try that.
Mm-hmm. And Catchup mentioned Roblox is a sleeper. I mean, again, it's a game we don't really talk too much about. Roblox is one of the highest grossing like video games in the world, and the entire game of Roblox. Is there Roblox created by like a company that made Roblox? Or is everything just mini games made by other people? I think everything in Roblox is literally just the developers give tools for players to create content, whether it's like FPS games, whether it's like battle royale games, whether it's party games, whether it's RPGs. They're the tools given by the developer, and players create stuff out of it. And we've seen magical things happen out of Roblox. I mean, this is definitely like it's worked in so many genres, right? It's worked across platforms. We just have to see it in MMORPGs. And what's crazy is MMORPGs seem like such a logical like place to tap your user base because you all have you all exist in this shared world. And there's a game coming out, a relatively new game. I forget what it's called now. It's a sci-fi game coming out.
Dual Universe. Dual Universe.
Dual Universe is trying it. We have that Korean game trying it as well. What was it called again? The anime looks really cool.
Peria.
Probably never gonna happen. Yeah, Peria Chronicles. And that's one of the reasons I was hyped for Peria Chronicles. Like they're talking about user-created content. I mean, literally everything like has moved from developers making everything to outsourcing some of it to its own players. And World of Drift is doing this with its islands, which is remarkably smart. And we've just seen how successful mods have become. There's player-made stuff. Just there's so much untapped creativity. It just seems really crazy that like because a game company only has so many resources, right? They can only create so much content on their own. Like why not just tap your most loyal fans to make content for you? Like especially like the sheer amount of fan art out there for like any big game kind of tells you that too. Like there are professional artists that go out of their way to just create content for games that they love. Like they spend tens of hours making beautiful artwork for games they like for no pay, just for fun, to share with the community. Like there's so much creative energy. This is skilled creative energy. that they would just love to pour into their own in a game they love, but there's no means to do so.
Well, I think the issue is not. I don't think people would disagree with you on the how good it is, like, or how great of an idea it is. The problem is execution, because remember, like I said, it's been tried with things like EverQuest, Next, Landmark, Worm Online. The issue is making it work fluidly in the MMORPG genre. And you say, people playing in a persistent world, but I think that makes it harder. I think the fact that you have to make user-created content seamlessly into the same world and everyone can just navigate around and see it, I think that's a huge hurdle. It's easier when it's segmented like Roblox, where each world is like its own little mini game, and you kind of have this browser window to jump between them, right? So I don't think the issue. I don't think anyone would disagree with what you said in terms of how much we need it and how great it is and how everyone loves it. No, the issue is doing it.
No, I get, but look at the you can still segment it quite a bit, because if you look at raids in World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, they do exist in segmented instances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we seeing player-made boss fights? But the thing is, because I don't think there are no tools to do it. That's why. There's no way for them to script a boss fight into Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft. And obviously, it'd be open to abuse for the problem if you get loot for it, would break the game's mechanics, and it's not designed around that, right? So it requires a lot of out-of-the-box thinking and ways that you have to design it so you can't get rewards for doing it. Otherwise, it'd be besides maybe achievements and maybe your own profile will list all the achievements you have, which player-made maps you've completed, right? Stuff like that would be awesome. I mean, we've even seen Mario Maker, right? A Nintendo game where players create their own Mario levels. It's been a pretty big hit, and just having that on an MMORPG scale where you can design dungeons, maybe 5-player dungeons, 10-player dungeons, or even raids, and the rewards can be just achievements or just status symbols in your profile that you've completed this dungeon, and you can leave reviews and stuff. That in and of itself would create, I think, an amazing atmosphere for a game and give you a reason to keep coming back. For example, I have not been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 lately. I've been playing very little. And the main reason is because I basically cleared all the raid content, besides the Ultimate tier, which I've worked on recently, but my group kind of sucked. But beyond that, I've completed all the raid tiers. There's really not much else for me to do. I actually loved both in all the raid tiers of Final Fantasy I've played. I really loved logging in and throwing myself at a raid for 8 hours a day, trying to find a group to do it, trying to learn the mechanics, trying to master the mechanics, right? It was a lot of fun. But after you complete all that, there's not much more to do. You can still collect glamours, which is you do that once in a while with your friends. You kind of level up an alternative class, which you can do. But I don't see myself throwing myself at the game for 10 hours a day until new raids come out. But if there was this constant flow of raids, and it's not even about the rewards. Honestly, getting that piece of gear doesn't really matter. I really never cared about getting my best in slot gear. I am currently best in slot in the game, but that stuff never really mattered. It was the challenge of beating the boss and that process of learning through death and through the mechanics and figuring it out was its own reward. And if you open the door to player created raids and dungeons, I think it would be amazing for the game, because not just on the super high end, it would create a lot of intermediate content, which actually the game really lacks. A lot of people are complaining actually in Final Fantasy 14 that there is nothing in between Savage and basically you have really brain dead easy content. Even the casuals recognize it's brain dead easy, right? There's nothing in between brain dead easy and the hardest content in the game, the Savage content. There's really nothing in between. Whereas World of Warcraft does have something in between, and Final Fantasy doesn't.
Okay, here's the question. I got a question. Does Final Fantasy 14 have private servers?
No, there are no private servers.
Because I want to say, as far as WoW is concerned, you're seeing a lot of creativity in the private server scene. So I know I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I'll play the trailer here. Basically, there's a server called Ascension for World of Warcraft, a private server, and they've totally overhauled the whole gameplay mechanics. There's no classes. You make a character and you're classless, and then as you level, you open this menu. I'll try to find the menu, and you basically select from all the different skills from all the different classes. So you create a custom character at the end. You can be a stealth. You can stealth and cast a frostbolt, I guess. Out of stealth. So
you choose your abilities.
Yeah, you choose your abilities as you level, and it's got open.
There's a full loot, isn't there? Open world PvP with loot options. If you kill somebody,
if you kill someone, one piece of gear will drop on them. So that's pretty cool.
So just playing with the existing server rules with private servers have already opened a lot of doors to creativity in World of Warcraft. And this kind of exists in a black market of illegality. And the problem is when this stuff is illegal, which private servers do get shut down. Yeah. And even despite them getting shut down, we see creative endeavors like this. So people are working and pouring their hearts into making these, custom rule servers with custom content and art assets, knowing full well that it's gonna be very difficult to monetize, and it might just get shut down from Blizzard. This happens despite that. If this is brought into the fold of legality and it was kind of sanctioned by Blizzard or Final Fantasy in this case, or any If it was within the game itself and it was sanctioned, I think it would be a thriving marketplace of interesting dungeons and everything else. Like again, Roblox, there are people that create the mini games and maps for Roblox, and they make a living doing it. And there are so many people that love these World of Warcraft Online 4. They would do the same thing.
If I was Blizzard, instead of shutting down a private server like this, I would call them, get all their programmers and head people to work for Blizzard, and launch a server like a classless PvP server alongside all my other servers, and just give my users more choice, and then that will bring in more money. And it could be a split.
That's what I was saying last time. Like have a realm list. When you log into World of Warcraft, you can see all the official Blizzard realms, right, from the realm list, and have like a custom one, like a workshop in Steam, like a custom realm list where all the player created servers exist there as well. And before you click on those, you might be warning. These are not official Blizzard servers. These are we make it easy to access these, but these are not. Like we don't run these servers ourselves. But maybe they get a cut of all the revenue. Maybe they get Blizzard gets 50% of the revenue. The developer gets the other half. And there's a nice warning message right there. They're saying, we don't recommend you plan these for a new player. These are for like whatever warning you want to put out there. But I think that would just make the player base like give them more choices and be a win-win for everyone.
Oh yeah, and someone Chad just mentioned too. So World of Drift will be the first game using the new Spatial OS engine we've been hearing about for a while now. So we can actually, I know during the alpha that you played, it was a laggy mess, right?
It was a hot laggy mess, yes.
Yeah. So now they're on Steam. Yeah, exactly. Now they're on Steam. Still early access, but being on Steam means at least there's a certain level of expectation of quality.
I think it was on Steam when I played too. Let me check my list.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was that they just launched on Steam, because if you go to the Steam page.
No, you're right.
It shows tomorrow is the launch, and you can pre-buy now for a 10% discount.
It was called Worlds of Drift Alpha on Steam. It was on Steam. I played for 6 hours, but yeah. That was back in January of 2017. So it's been over a year since I played. But, I mean, we see World of Drift applying. It doesn't have to go full like completely this way either. I mean, maybe designing raids and dungeons is like maybe a bit much, but the way MapleStory 2 is handling it with just with the game's cosmetics, I think is really smart too. Just let players import their own models into the game. It's almost like the Steam Workshop for CS:GO and Dota 2, where players make the cosmetics. And having a similar system in MapleStory 2, I think is pretty genius. It's limiting it to non-gameplay stuff, which is a good starting place. But I think ideally, the perfect MMORPG will have basically the developer making the tools for players to create all the content, and that would be ideal. And I think you can implement this in existing games as well. Obviously, it is a very difficult challenge, but I think this is what's going to take MMORPGs to the next level. Where this might be the next WoW killer. This might be the next big thing in MMORPGs. Like, look, I'm looking forward to Bless a lot. I'm going to play it, but like it's not going to be the next big thing. I'm sorry. It's not going to be this amazing game. It'll be a fun game, but it's not going to come close to WoW. I would bet my life that's not going to happen. But maybe it's a game that does the ideas we talked about. Might.
And to trash on FF14 a little more before we move on. Again, it doesn't have to be something as big as everything being user created, but I think the games that kind of have an open mentality towards user created content are the ones that are going to at least experiment and lead to good things. And a studio like Square Enix, where the official stance they take on just add-ons, right? It really shows that they're not open to this at all. They are very closed-minded when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we're not going to see it from them. Yeah, I think what's very important is the mentality, because then you can kind of project to the future what's going to happen, and it's not going to happen with Square Enix.
Iantex made a good point too. It's still a risky thing to let people upload everything without approval, and that's actually what surprised me the most about MapleStory 2, that you could upload anything without approval. It was basically automatically approved, and you get reported if you did something bad by other players.
Why is that risky? Look at YouTube. We could upload anything to YouTube, and then we'll get removed if it's against their policy. But it'll be up there until somebody reports it or something. So I think they're playing it too safe. YouTube got away with it for years, and it's still getting away with it. You can upload anything you want to YouTube. I bet right now I can find porn on YouTube. I'm not going to, because I don't get banned. But I bet if you go on YouTube right now and search, some porn terms, and then sort by most recent upload, and I bet you'll find porn right now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they were deleting videos on Tide Pods, the kids eating Tide Pods. I googled Tide Pods, and I sort by newest upload, right? And I found a video that was actually like 30 minutes old, right? And it was actually this kid eating a Tide Pod.
Wow.
It was like a legit video. It was like, because there were a lot of fake videos too, where people like go to eat and they throw it out. Haha, I'm not actually doing it. Like this kid actually ate a Tide Pod. I'm just rolling my eyes. The only thing I really think about was like, obviously this video will get removed because YouTube isn't actively banning those. Mm-hmm. But like this kid looked like the kind of kid that would eat a Tide Pod. Like he fit that look perfectly, which is a pretty silly thing to say. But yeah, it was.
Was he a young fat kid with spiky hair?
He was like a young, like edgy fat kid. Yeah.
All right. I know the type.
You know the type. But the companies like Blizzard and Square Enix kind of have this weird approach. Like Blizzard, for example, like by default, like in Hearthstone, you can't even talk to your opponent, right? So with a company like that, do you think it's even possible for them to like do the kind of things we're talking about? Like, there's no all chat in Heroes of the Storm. You know, there's literally no chat in Hearthstone. And in
That's
Final Fantasy
true.
14 in PvP, there's literally no way to communicate. Like we do group PvP, you can only communicate with like these 4 commands, like come over here, I need healing, you know, whatever. Like you can't. I guess they're so afraid of toxicity that they handle like that, and that kind of, you know, pigeonholes them into like not doing this kind of content. You know, it makes their thinking a bit more narrow.
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt from StarCraft 2 because there are custom games, but then again, StarCraft 2 is like is probably their oldest in the recent list of games they have, right? Like Blizzard. So maybe things have changed at Blizzard since, you know, the good old days, and like you said, all their newer games like HOTS and Hearthstone and Overwatch even, right, doesn't really allow too much, you know, customization or modding or add-ons or anything.
I think actually the company that has the best chance of doing this might be Valve, because Valve has like the most they do embrace modding quite a bit, whether it's through CS:GO or Dota 2, where the Steam Workshop plays a pretty big role in like what you can do.
Yeah.
We did show off that Toho Anime Battle Arena game for Dota 2, and it's just pretty amazing what you can do in that. And what's remarkable is there are these RPGs built into Dota 2 as well. These really weird, like intricate RPGs. Mostly Chinese companies do this. They're made by Chinese developers because Dota 2 is really popular in China. So these games are in complete Chinese. So, but I played one of them. It was one of the popular RPGs. If it was like an MMORPG built into Dota 2. So I guess you could like. There was like a legit character creator. There was like stat points. There was inventories and there was quests. It was a massive world, and there was even a cash shop. Like you could buy like in game like gacha cash shops in a custom Dota 2 map. And on toxicity front too, I think Valve is the most like hands off, whereas companies like Square Enix, Blizzard are really actively going after toxicity. I think Smite announced this week that they banned like 20,000 players for toxic behavior over the last like few months. Like, that's pretty insane. Like, they're going full out on anti-toxicity, right? But Valve is like the most chill approach. I don't think you get banned. I'm actually very confident that you will never get banned in Dota 2 for toxicity, just being mean. Because I was playing Dota 2 for the last 2 weeks, like somewhat regularly, and I would just look at the chat, right? There's like a general chat while you're in queue for like these giant chat rooms with everybody, and people just spamming the N-word. Like not one guy, not 10 guys, like literally there's walls of N-word flying while I'm queuing up for Dota 2. I'm thinking like these guys have like thousands of hours in the Dota 2 account. These aren't fresh accounts.
Yeah.
These are seasoned veterans who've been playing Dota 2 for like 5,000 plus hours, and they feel comfortable spamming the N-word over and over again on a public channel. Like you could never do that in Overwatch, in World of Warcraft, or League. Like you would just get banned instantly. They have this approach. They don't seem to care or enforce anti-toxicity, or if they want to enforce this stuff, they do like AI or rules-based systems where like it's a very hands-off approach. Even if you feed games, I don't think you can ever get banned.
Well, think about it. I never got banned, and when I used to play, so.
Yeah, but there is no mechanism for banning you unless you cheat. The only way you can ever get banned from a Valve game is through the anti-cheat system. It's if it automatically detects your cheating, that bans you. But I think Valve could be the company that could do this because, speaking of modding, it fits into our discussion. This week I played a custom CS:GO map where my buddy brought up. I didn't know you could do this in CS:GO. It's basically an action-adventure puzzle game. There are some shooting mechanics, there's a lot of puzzle mechanics, and there's a story in CS:GO. It's a custom map and it's a trilogy. It's a 3-part trilogy, and every single one gets better along the way because the guy who made the map gets better at making maps. But the third one was particularly impressive because it's almost like Undertale, where sometimes in the game, like you talk to an NPC and like you get to a part of the story where like you have multiple choices on what you want to do, and you can say like every player votes on what option you want to say to the NPC, and whichever one like the most people pick, your character says that to the character in front of you. And sometimes it kind of determines which ending you get in the game. Like at the end of the game, you can like choose to kill this guy or like save him. And, like different things will happen at the end based on what the player made a choice. And this is CS:GO, and there's puzzle mechanics in CS:GO. It's a 2-hour map of co-op game, and there are skill points. You level up. There's an inventory system where you can there's a lockpicking system. This is all in CS:GO where people are making these amazing maps. Like I didn't know this was even possible until I played this map. So we're seeing Valve embrace giving players the tools to make some pretty crazy stuff. We've seen it in Dota 2, we've seen it in CS:GO, and even though it's been kind of a half-hearted effort, that one Dota 2 map, the Toho Dream Battle, it had 24,000 players currently playing it. That's huge. That's like 10% of Dota 2's peak player base on any given day is playing a custom map.
What would that be on the Steam top 10 if it was an independent game?
It would be under like top 20, easy.
Yeah. So let's see, 24,000 would put it.
It'd be top 15.
Yeah. That's pretty
Gary's
funny.
mod is number 14 with 22,000, and Stardew Valley is at 24,000. So it'd be on that top 15 list as a mod for Dota 2. That's insane.
Yep. Speaking of mods, I've been playing Terraria, as you guys know, and we were actually playing a modded version called Thorium, and it has a whole bunch of stuff. New bosses, new equipment, new items, and I had the same first reaction as you had with this Counter-Strike map. I was so surprised that players basically almost double the size of the game, and integrates. It works so well. It's not how well it integrated is what really amazed me. And it's basically added another, I want to say, like 100 hours of gameplay to this, game I bought for $10 like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Quality.
But just playing that map is astounding, and I'm really hoping MMORPGs kind of run with this. I think MapleStory 2 will do really well with their custom, player created costume stuff, and we've already seen how well Minecraft and Roblox has already done. I think this is the future for MMORPGs, and whoever really embraces this first will win. Like, so many multi-billion-dollar genres came out of modding. You have to embrace it. That's all there is to it. Like, this is the only way forward on PCs.
Indeed. All right. Well, enough of that. If you guys have your own thoughts on the subject, user-created content in MMOs, go leave a comment, and we may or may not discuss it next week.
All right, we should take this to Blast, because that's like the next. I mean, everyone's kind of hyped for Blast. We mentioned it earlier too, and I have a few things to discuss about Blast. We talked, I think, last week about the Founders Packs. I think we can safely say we didn't Reddit, because it looks like Blast did reduce the pricing of the Founders Packs. The most expensive Founders Pack went from $199 to $149, and they removed the premium customer support thing from the Blast packages, which I guess is a bit of a win.
Did they remove the extra copy you get, or no?
No, I think you still get that. They just lowered the price, and they got rid of the premium customer support. So kind of listen to player feedback. They were kind of worried about like the negative publicity spiraling out of control. But the game is early access begins May 28th for Founders Pack buyers, and May 30th for everyone else. It's $30 if you don't buy a Founders Pack. I think it's $40 if you buy the Founders Pack. But the biggest story this week about Blast is not really that. It's really, there was a pretty good interview on MMORPG.com about the game's monetization, which I read earlier before the podcast came up. But it's worth discussing, because they talk about how what exactly will be in the cash shop. I kind of want to go over some of those highlights.
Sure, let's see it.
Let me link you to the MMORPG.com article first. You can see it over there. I think the funniest thing first is when they talk about the game's subscription, because for some reason I think they're allergic. The NeoWiz is allergic to the word subscription. I think it polled very negatively. Like, they did some consumer studies on like what words do well for the game, and the word subscription just was a no-go. So MMORPG.com asked them, what can players expect every month from their premium subscription? Because you can pay for a premium subscription. It's like $15 a month, and you get some in-game goodies, right? The first thing NeoWiz says is, rather than calling it a premium subscription, we think that it would be more accurate to call it premium status. What does that even mean? Of course it's a subscription. How can you call it premium status? You're paying monthly for it.
It's like Department of Defense somewhere, all right? Instead of Department of War.
And it's not just that response there, because I've been following everything Bless has posted on Steam as well, and they released a FAQ earlier talking about the game's premium goodies, right? And the wording there really threw me off as well, because they talked about premium, I think, a few weeks ago, and they said, let's be clear, this is not a premium. This is not a subscription product. Wait, how is a monthly subscription not a subscription product? The logic makes no sense. I think they just avoid the word subscription, because that kind of pulls negatively. So the Breast PR talk is actually, it's really cringe, because just denying that it's a subscription when it's literally a subscription isn't doing you any favors. It kind of makes you look really ridiculous. But beyond that, there's actually a few positives and negatives about the game's monetization. And I guess we'll start with the positives first, because I actually really like some of the decisions they've made. So the premier currency in the game is called Lumena. It's pretty sure it's the same currency as the Russian version that we played. But there's also a currency you get in the game called activity points, right? So activity points, basically, you can get by doing, I guess, some kind of dailies every day. And just playing the game, you can earn activity points, right? Okay. You cannot buy activity points. They made it pretty clear. Lumena cannot be exchanged for activity points. Basically, everyone can accumulate activity points at the same rate. And you can't even boost your activity point gain. That's the only way to get it is to play the game. And that's on equal terms with everyone. And activity points can be used to give you some like you can use it for in-game like enhancement buffs and other goodies, right? So maybe increase your enhancement chances. It has a useful purpose in game. But what I also really like is that activity points can be exchanged for cash app currency. It can be exchanged for Lumena.
Oh, so you can go one way, but not the other.
It's a one-way transaction where free-to-play users can accumulate activity points in-game and transfer it to cash app currency to be used for cosmetics and other cash app goodies. Like, I love that because thinking of MapleStory, for example, in most MMORPGs, there's almost no way to get premium currency. In MapleStory, it's impossible. You cannot get an X without paying Nexon. Like, there's no way to do it. In Blade of the Soul and a few other games, there's an exchange rate between in-game currency and NC coins, which at least allows you a way to do it. But this seems to be like the fairest way because there's no pay-to-win mechanics in terms of buying currency. Because there's always a pay-to-win stigma in World of Warcraft that you can sell WoW tokens, so you can basically buy in-game gold for real-life money. You can do the same thing in Blade and Soul, right? So this system by itself, I think, is actually really good. It's well designed in its intent. But obviously, there will be some weird some other pay-to-win issues. They did emphasize there's going to be no pay-to-win elements. So there's the things you can buy with Cash App, though. It looks like you can buy increased XP rates and convenience items like teleporting around and costumes, skins, and all those goodies. But one of the things that there's only one aspect of the Cash App they revealed is what kind of seemed a little bit pay-to-winny to me to a degree, especially considering like they really went out of their way to talk about we're not pay-to-win. There's no way we're pay-to-win, right? The one part of it that kind of threw me off is, I'll tell you, in case you didn't know, Bless is an open world PvP game, right? So an opposing faction, if they see you, they can just kill you, right?
Yep, I know what's coming. Go ahead.
All right, so you can buy something called the Peace Declaration and Peace Pledge. These items are only available through the Cash App, and they make it so other players can't attack you for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes, that's it?
10 minutes, that's it.
I thought it was going to be like a permanent thing, like an item you can buy once, and then like it's like a flag, you can flag yourself off.
But I do want to clarify how this works, because before people start screaming at Neoways, there is one redeeming aspect of this, but it's still pretty bad. The redeem aspect is, until you get to max level, you can buy these items from a vendor for in-game currency, right? So they're available for in-game currency until max level. But once you reach max level, you can only get it in the Cash App. So you can kind of avoid getting griefed or attacked while leveling if you buy it in-game with in-game currency. However, it's only available in the Cash App once you reach max level, which is really bizarre. Because if you want to be this if you want to be this open world style like faction PvP game, like I guess old World of Warcraft was, it just seems bizarre that you can pay money. Like, oh shit, there's 3 guys gonna come in to gank me. Peace pledge. I use the Cash App item. You can't attack me now for 10 minutes. What the hell? That defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
So it seems it is permanent, but it lasts for 10 minutes and then has a 10-minute cooldown.
Yeah. Okay,
so you don't have to keep. I thought they were going super pay to win by making you buy like a consumable that you got to keep chugging.
Yeah.
It's like some people just following you around, like until it runs out, so you got to keep buying.
But like that just seems so bizarre to me, because like if you want to really sell your game as like you gotta hand to Bless to a degree that they have actually tried to avoid a lot of the pay to win stuff with these interviews what they talked about, right? But like why? Like so many of the things that they offer is really non-gameplay altering, which is to their credit, a lot of it is non-gameplay altering. But it just seems bizarre that they would let this one go. Like, just don't have this in the game. It kind of defeats the purpose of don't interfere with the gameplay with the Cash App stuff. Like this, it just seems so unnecessary. And I don't think they're gonna make a lot of money off this either. I think it will only give them negative goodwill. Like there's a lot of ill will come out of this.
It looks, the optics look so bad. Like basically pay not to be griefed. Like it just.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm okay with them having a PvP game. Just don't have ways for people to pay to flag out of it then. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
You can't have it both ways.
Go to full PvP. Yeah, it just seems so silly.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It is really... Has any game done this before? This seems like a really odd decision,
Mm-hmm. And one other thing which is kind of weird, I mean, I don't like this. And one other thing I don't like about the Cash Shop is they're going to be selling reset scrolls. Reset skill scrolls, right? So if you do your skills wrong, the only way to reset your skills will be through Cash App. The only way, which is kind of weird. Like, oh, look, you can make it so maybe you can buy. They can have that, but have some kind of way in game to reset it. Because if you're going to sell the Cash App, let players earn money in game. Maybe you can make the price very high if you want. Like, let players somehow be able to reset without the Cash App. Fortunately, again, you do have the activity point Lumena system where you can convert your activity points to Lumenas and do it that way. But just having this kind of, I think it hurts the spirit of saying your game isn't pay to win anyway. And I would have loved to see Bless come out with this interview and basically say, we are putting all our cards on the table. You can look at the Cash App. It's very clearly zero pay to win, because that's been their emphasis. They've been so really emphasizing that from the get-go. But there's a few things that kind of make you raise your eyebrow, saying, Did they really have to do this? And beyond that, there's also the extra tactic slots. So do you remember when we played Blessed? You can like only equip so many skills, right?
Yep.
And like the number of skills you can equip became like kind of your resource.
Yep.
Those are called your tactic slots. So you can pay to have extra like save basically.
Wait.
But you can't. Oh, you can't have like more than the default amount, right? But you can have like
more pages.
Like, yeah, pages. Essentially, pages of them.
Oh,
Rather, you can always manually change them out.
You scared me. You scared me. I thought you could literally buy more like slots in that part. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can have multiple saved pages for your skill slots basically, or you can manually change them on your own. It's that one is not that big of a deal.
No, that's not a big deal. That's like League with the rune pages.
Exactly. It's basically rune pages in League, so it's not that big of a deal. But and Mean makes a good point. You can't convert your tokens for Lumena to reset your skills. And we talked about that. But it just seems like having this in here, there's only 2 things in this game so far in the cash app from this interview that really just kind of make it's not so bad that I'm going to say, oh, pay to win, don't play it, right? But those 2 things kind of like make it. Why are they doing that? They're going to get so much more negative like publicity and just bad image from saying that than just not having those 2 things there, or just let players get this in game as well with in-game currency. If they just did those 2 things, I think the cash app would look a lot better.
Alternatively, if they're going to do it the way they have it now, they should not be charging $30 up front.
Exactly.
Everything you're describing to me, the premium, the premium status, / subscription, and all this other stuff. It's if you ask me to describe, their payment model, I'd say free to play, but they're doing all this on top of a $30 ask. So that's the kind of where it gets wobbly for me.
Mm-hmm. And there's one other good part from this interview that I actually really liked. It's not really monetization related, but they talk about flying mounts. So if you just search flying, for example, you can see. Actually, keep the video playing for Bless. I'll explain it.
Okay.
But flying mounts in the game are actually considered special mounts you can obtain for PvP. And the game is basically saying flying mounts are the most valuable mounts in Bless Online because they don't have the same mobility limitations that regular mounts do. They can be used strategically in specifically realm versus realm contents. Only a limited number of players will ever have high achievements that will be required to obtain these flying mounts. Therefore, flying mounts will not be sold in the cash shop. So flying mounts are actually they're billing it as some kind of like actually super useful exclusive thing, which I actually really like. Basically, regular mounts anyone can get, but flying mounts are going to be there for like the high achievers, the top 1%, top tryhards, the leaders of the guilds. And these can be game like impacting things where you get better view of the realm versus realm environment. It can actually be a meaningful like thing to actually have in the game, and I like that a lot because flying mounts and mounts are basically given to everyone willy-nilly nowadays in the market.
Oh yeah.
To have this kind of content, some kind of exclusive content where it's really only there for that. It's aspirational content. It's not there for everyone, right? If they implement that well, where you have to really work for it, I think it'd be really good for the game.
Yeah.
We talked about World of Warcraft. Remember with getting your mount in WoW and Vanilla WoW was such a like an ordeal. Like most people didn't have the gold required, the 100 gold required to get their mount when they level 40. Let alone the epic training mount, the 600 gold one when you're like level 60. So if they can do that with Bless, I think it'd be actually a really good thing for the game.
I do too, and I think unfortunately one of the reasons why a lot of these games do cop out and kind of just give everything to everyone is because there's so much competition. So like within months of Bless coming out, right, you're gonna have Air start drumming up their closed beta, their open beta, their cash shop, etc. So now Bless doesn't have to compete with that, and then 2 months later you're gonna have another game coming out, in the same kind of style. So I just think it's a lot of it's an arms race, to try to keep players by giving them all this convenient stuff.
Ben Sami, thank you for the 7 months in a row subscription. Mucho love, fam.
Thank you,
and
sir.
actually, Exile said something I really liked. I do want to repeat that again. He said, I guaranteed they're going to be coming fall 2018, flying mounts in the cash shop. After they said it won't be in the cash shop.
Yeah.
And what's funny, Saffron echoes the same statement. I agree. Fall, why not summer? So, and everyone's basically saying, oh, I fully agree this is going to happen. Like, everyone's kind of, like, I feel like as players, we become kind of jaded as well. Because when a company says, like, oh, we're not going to do pay to win, right? Everyone kind of rolls their eyes to a degree. Because we remember when Black Desert literally said, oh, we won't have this item in our game because it's too pay to win. And literally like a year and a half later, they add that exact same item, which they said they would never add because it's too pay to win.
Yeah. And, okay, so I don't want to veer off topic, and we can come back to Bless if it's related. But this is kind of related, okay? And a lot of these companies will tell you they got to do all this stuff to make money, right? All this, the selling the piece item, selling the premium whatever, selling non-cosmetic things like their skill reset, right? But let's not forget that the top game in the world right now, Fortnite, actually has the best free to play model. There's literally it's all cosmetics. There's no you don't buy extra slots, you don't buy extra gear, you don't buy anything. You just buy cosmetics.
There's no loot boxes either. There's no RNG loot boxes.
There you go.
You buy what you want.
And they're doing really well, so it clearly works.
It's a different business.
I know. It's a different genre too.
You can't get away. I think it's a much tougher sell if like CS:GO started selling premium bullets where you do like one more damage.
That's not true. World of Tanks does it, and they make a ton of money.
But I think can't you get those premium bullets like with in-game currency as well?
Wait, I'm sure you can do the bullshit conversion crap, but a lot of games do that. But basically, there's premium bullets in World of Tanks, and they make tons of money.
There's a sense of fairness, and I have to read more to these premium bullets. But there's like to see a game like Dota or League or CS:GO like selling you power. I think people would revolt much quicker than maybe paying for like faster XP gain. Because like in Dota 2, you can pay for XP gain on your compendium, right? It's not the same thing, but like you can pay for XP. Like people are more okay with these side things that are non-super gameplay altering. But I think people would be up in arms if you did like the pay-to-win stuff in mobile.
Well, then I guess it's our fault as MMORPG genre players to kind of yield.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We gave in. You know, the dam collapsed. Now it's flooding. You know, like okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because by the way, if there isn't player pushback, it can go all the way. Look at Crossfire in China, where you don't have the same, player uprising against pay to win. In Crossfire in China, you can just pay for premium guns and bullets all day long, and they're okay with it because in China they let that slip, and now you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
I do agree though for sure. The player pushback can make an impact, as we've seen with even NeoWiz to a degree. They've scaled back the $200 founders pack to $149, right? They've scaled back the premium customer support because players have basically said this is bullshit. You can't like sell different tiers of customer support. Like you're gonna be cutting in line in front of me, right? Stuff like that. So yeah, I think we as players do have a responsibility to don't support the bullshit. I mean, if you play a game too, like don't buy the bullshit. Like if you really don't want to see pay to win in your games, don't stop buying the pay to win stuff. Like the only way it works is if you buy into it, you know.
But they're gonna. It's a prisoner's dilemma. Like you know, what I'm saying if you get the advantage, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I guess because if you do buy the pay to win, it becomes like such a.
Yeah.
I mean, if you play a game because it's fun, like they sneak this pay to win stuff there, you might say some shit about it, but then buy it.
Yeah, people are gonna.
It's just rough. People do need to speak up more. I don't know. It's obviously a tough one.
All right, so
I didn't see the Lumena prices yet.
I do want to talk quickly about Fortnite again, but I'll let you finish on Les. Anything else?
It's about the Lumena prices. I haven't seen them just yet, but I'm personally pretty much no matter what they sell the costumes for, it's not gonna be a big deal for me because there's no if they sell like I know Blade and Soul sells very expensive. And a costume in Blade and Soul costs like up to $30, $40 for like one costume. I mean, to me, like that's not really offensive. I know Soul Worker was really expensive too, but to me, it's like if it's too expensive, like I'm just not going to buy it. But like if somebody wants to buy a $40 costume and it gives them no advantage in the game, that's fine. You know, it doesn't offend me in any way. I think they'd be smart to price it more reasonably. I think if you price it more reasonably, you can make more money.
No, I think you're wrong. I think the term microtransactions is misnomer. I think the people who are willing to pay. They don't care if it's $1. Don't charge $1, $5, $10. Charge like $25. That seems to be the sweet spot. Look at again Fortnite. Those skins are not cheap. You know.
That's true.
So I don't think you're right that if you charge less you'll make more money. I think there's a certain percent of players, let's say 10%, who are willing to pay, right? And those 10%, to them, $1, $10, $20, $50 makes no difference. You know, if you get them in that mindset, the hooked mindset, they'll buy your $25 items just as easily as they'll buy your $10 items.
No, you're right. I yield that to you. However, you have to realize there's also a pretty large subset of players that will look at a price and be like, "This is $20," and then they'll just never buy it at that price. Or maybe they'll only buy it $10. They'll only buy it at $5.
No, I don't think so.
That player base exists.
It's like 1%. It's like 0.1%. It's not the percent of people who will buy regardless of price. I feel it's higher than the ones who are price conscious.
I consider myself pretty price conscious. I think
well, you're a lost hope. They should not be aiming for you because they're not going to get money from you. But there are people I know they'll spend like $100 on a game and they'll play for like a week and then quit and move on to something else and then spend $100 on that too. But there would be people like me who will play a game for years and not spend a dime, like Dota, right? So why should they target you and me, which by trying to okay, let's charge 5 cents instead of $10, and then maybe they'll buy a little bit. No, just go for the guy who's going to go pop down $50.
It was like I said, well, I can agree that it'd be cheaper. I would buy them more on impulse. It's hard to be impulsive with $40 to $50. Yeah, I think that's a degree. That's definitely worth mentioning as well. Like, there are people out there that will just buy it outright. I mean, I do see that there are people that will buy it at any price. But even people that regularly spend money, they have to. We gotta get Chew on here. We gotta get her perspective on this because I know she spent good money on mobile games back in the day. So maybe we'll get her opinion on that. But I do know people that don't have like a lot of disposable income, but they spend like $25 on every single like costume in Fortnite, for example, that spend beyond like what they should.
Oh yeah, like I said, I think Fortnite is a good example. I know everyone I know who's playing has bought multiple $25 skins, and I don't think if it was $5 they would have bought more. You know, I think they just buy the ones they like, and that's it. $10 or 25 or $1 doesn't make a difference.
Personally, for me, if I see a $3 or $5 skin and I think I'll buy it in a heartbeat. But the problem is nothing is priced like that. Everything is priced so expensive. You know, like I when I played Fortnite, I'm like, I know this looks pretty cool. I want to buy this skin. $25? Fuck no. It just if it was like $5, I could do it. I could swallow it. You know, I just can't do it with 25. I had to think about it. $25, that's not for a real game.
There's this thing in psychology. I don't know for terms and stuff, but like if you're selling like a premium product, at some point you actually don't want it too close in price to like the mid tier price. So like if there's like a $49 plate, right, and your plate's like 10% better, you don't want to charge $60 for it. You want to charge like 120, because now it's viewed as like, oh wow, you're paying that extra 10% improvement must be so valuable and so rare that it's worth it. So you don't be too close to the shit tier.
I'd rather have a high price for my costumes and etc. so people don't look the same. There's more exclusivity to that.
Exactly. That's why you're paying for the luxury of a cosmetic, right? So you don't want it to be $1 because that's not luxury then.
True.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a better way of phrasing it. You kind of want to show off, and you can't. Nobody wants to show off a $1 item. It just means you went through the trouble of taking out your credit card, punching in the numbers. You know, like.
But here's the deal. I'll tell you. Here's where I think we fundamentally disagree, and I think the lower price can actually boost sales, is because they're not mutually exclusive. You know, why don't you have like a $100 skin, a $25 skin, and a $2 skin, and they can be all different. You know, too. Let the cheapos buy the $2 skins. Let the guys that want to be badass buy the $100 skins.
I can agree with the kind of like get people used to it. You know, hook somebody for $1 and then hope they progress to the more expensive stuff.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's okay. I can yeah. Yeah, the sneakers are a good market to study. It's very interesting. People pay like hundreds of dollars, like $500 for sneakers, and they're not better than the $100 sneakers, you know, or $50 sneakers.
Actually, I think the markup that Zen Exile pointed out was actually not too far off. I think those old Yeezys, those old like red ones, some of the original ones are worth thousands of dollars. Like they were like they retail for like maybe $100 or something, but they go for like over $5,000. Some of the original ones. It's insane. Makes no kind of sense to me, but I mean, people do it.
Yeah, I definitely think the term microtransaction is very misleading. I think we are entering the world of macrotransactions today.
I'm gonna find. I'm gonna show you a Yeezy. But
All right, show me some Yeezys.
I'm gonna show you some of these.
I knew a guy who was hardcore into this whole sneaker world. Actually, he's a sub to us, right, Kola? He's super into this sneakers. He makes money off it. He has all these programs and scripts to like see when they're in stock and auto purchase them, and then he hawks them on.
So this is a new in box, brand new Yeezy. This is a completed listing on eBay, meaning this one already sold. This is a sold listing. So this is not even like one that's for sale. Somebody already bought this one, and they paid $10,000 for it.
What? Link me.
I linked it to you on Discord. I'll look it on here too, on Twitch. I'm always curious.
Oh, you keep. Sometimes you're PMing me. Sometimes you're sending in the channel. All right, let's see this.
We're like normal transactions and macro transactions. Exactly. After
these look so ugly.
They look so extra. Like I don't know, people like them.
It looks like a licorice.
They're really flashy.
It looks like licorice shoes.
But $10,000. That's still so insane to me.
It's my size 10.
And here's an older one. This one, this is a more newer one, I think. This one sold for $5,100. It's a Yeezy Boost 350 blue tint, whatever that is. But
blue tint.
I could never imagine spending this much money on sneakers. What I don't understand is why isn't like Nike, whoever makes these Yeezys, I don't think it's Adidas, whoever makes, I don't know who makes them. Why don't they just sell them on eBay? It seems so silly that they're selling these for a retail price of $100.
It is
Nike. You
Nike.
just resell them for so much more. Ugly ass shoes, yo, Mr. Fester. Tell it to the guys paying $10,000 for them.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get this. This is like I don't know, some kind of planned. I think it's like a social experiment by Nike. So like, see what they can get away with.
Who says I'd be too scared to actually wear them? Same. If I see something, I can just imagine like somebody jumping on me and pulling them off my feet if they're worth like $10,000.
This is like the Rolex for the ghetto people. You know, like You can't wear like a
That's
nice
just
suit
ghetto
down the street. You know, you gotta wear this instead if you want to show
You
off.
wear the Yeezys.
You can't wear like an Armani
Casual-
suit and walk down the
That's
ghetto.
casual racism right there. You're trying to say black people.
I didn't say
can't wear
I said
suits?
ghetto. I didn't say black. You are a racist, sir.
I think ghetto is one of those code words.
But I was
what-
not. I was not thinking that, but you were. So
Hold on.
I really was not.
When Fox News says like thug,
I'm not Fox
you know what
News.
they mean, right? You know what they mean. You don't talk about black people when they say thug, right?
No. The code is
That's like
the code
there's
is
a word for that too. I forgot what it's called.
oh, it's like dog call whistling, dog whistling, right?
Yeah. Something like that. Some whistling. There's a term for that, but yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, back to MMORPGs, boys. What is the most expensive cash shop item in an MMORPG? You think? That'd be a fun article to write up, like the most expensive. We did write an article about the most expensive digital items, I think, and there was a golden Roshan courier for Dota 2. It's worth over $30,000 US.
Oh
But that's
my
like
God.
it was a rare event item. That's why, right? There's only so many in existence. But I'm curious, like if you look at the cash shop for a game, like what is the most expensive item you can find today?
Okay, I'm sorry. Before moving on, someone linked me something hilarious. I think it was Hivs. Okay, so you can buy this clay brick that says Supreme on it. Okay, it's a clay brick for $120.
No.
And if you think
link me this, I want to see this. I'm quick on this. I'm quick on this brick. This guy has something special about this.
No,
Wait,
this
there's
is
a buy and sell for this brick. This is like a.
this is a stock market, baby. You can trade bricks.
What? What is a Supreme brick?
So Supreme is this new hipster company that sells overpriced everything. If you scroll
No.
down, yeah, they have a hat that says Supreme on it, a baseball hat, $85.
$88 gloves say Supreme.
Okay, if you guys think that's absurd, I got another one for you. More ready? I just linked it.
Let's go. That's it.
So this is DHL. It's a shirt that says DHL. It's basically the UPS or FedEx of Europe, of Germany specifically. So you can buy their iconic, I guess, the shirt that their delivery people wear. But it'll cost you 200 euros or pounds. I don't know what this is. It's on sale. It's only 100 pounds right now.
What a deal, boys! What a deal.
Yeah.
Have you seen this kind of? Again, we're getting slightly off topic, but did you see the Kanye West T-shirt that was for sale a couple years ago?
Yeah. I've seen that.
It's basically a plain T-shirt, just a white T-shirt, right? Literally just a plain white T-shirt, all right? And I'm trying to see if we can find a picture for it. Is Kanye Yeezy? Is that where the name comes from?
I don't know. I guess I'll say yes.
Somebody in on Twitch can tell us. But they called it a hip hop T-shirt. I know this could be this is from Google Images, right? But this was the original page for selling this. I remember this from a couple years ago. They called it the hip hop T-shirt, and it's just a plain white T-shirt, and it costs $120. It's literally just a white T-shirt. How on earth do you sell? There's no logo on it. There's no brand. It's just a white T-shirt, and they call it the hip hop T-shirt.
Gary the Giraffe. You know a guy who sold a game coat and PUBG for 150. Omar, it's a great time to summarize your experience with.
Gary the Giraffe. I actually bought quite a few PUBG trench coats. I had 7 at one point, and I also bought the PUBG bandana, and I sold them for quite a bit. So I bought let me show my bandana first. That's the one I sold for the most. The PlayerUnknown's bandana. I bought this bad boy. See if we can find. Okay, here's my. I'll put a Giazzo picture of this bad boy. I paid $41 for this this bandana in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds in Twitch chat. And I'll tell you what I sold it for recently. Here you go. This is that same bandana. Look at my selling price. So I bought it for $41.80, and I sold it for $703. That one bandana in
Wow.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That is insane. Somebody paid $703 US for a bandana in PUBG. That is blows my mind. But I bought all my trench coats I bought for like $100 or less, and I sold them all for $350, $400 each. So
Okay.
it's pretty nuts.
To tie all this back into MMOs, guys, I have some bad news. All right, I'm gonna be the cynic here. These microtransaction and cash shops, it's gonna get a lot worse from here on forward, because the real world has shown that there is no end to human madness. So people are going to be spending $1,000 on a hip version of the level 1 gear. So imagine like the wooden shield, but it's gonna say like, like I'm a pro on it, or like a noob. It's to say noob on it, right? And you can buy it for like $1,000, and you can walk around with it, ironically, like act like a noob in like Final Fantasy or whatever.
I still find it bizarre that like with what we've seen with that Supreme brick, with that rapper T-shirt, And like with the amount of money we've seen pay for those shoes, even this PUBG bandana, people are willing to pay crazy amounts of money. So
Yep.
what I actually find pretty surprising is why aren't costumes even more money? Like why?
Oh, they will be.
But why doesn't Blade of the Soul sell like some costume for $2,000?
They will.
Why doesn't Final Fantasy 14 sell a costume or some cosmetic or some handbag in the game or a special hat for $3,000? Or even all these Bless like, but I think if these companies didn't do any pay to win stuff, no XP boost, nothing even remotely pay to win, and they only had cosmetics and they priced them with different tiers where they go up to thousands of dollars, they could make so much more money selling purely overpriced cosmetics than they could selling any pay to win stuff. I think you'll make more money selling luxury bullshit products in these games, $3,000 hats, $5,000 shoes in Bless or World of Warcraft, and then you won't have to do any pay to win. Pay to win wouldn't even make sense then, because I don't think people would pay like $3,000 for a sword that does like plus 10 more damage. I don't think people would pay that much money for this OP sword, but they'll pay that much for an OP cosmetic.
Yeah, I think what you said, to answer your question, I think all this will happen in the future, in the near future. I wonder if we're gonna get collaborations. You know how Louis Vuitton did that collaboration with Final Fantasy, I believe 12. They had lightning in it.
Not 12.
13. 13.
She's 13.
Okay, yeah, 13. Do you think it'll ever go the other way, where you can buy like a Louis Vuitton bag in Final Fantasy 14, but it costs
we
like...
we talked about this in a post game before. 100%. Like that'd be an amazing collaboration, because imagine just buying a bag. And the thing is, like, real talk, the end game of any MMORPG is fashion. Whether it's Guild Wars 2, whether it's World of Warcraft, whether it's Final Fantasy 14, people play for the fashion, and they go out of their way. They do these dungeons over hundreds of times just to get that one rare drop to finish their costume. It's such a big part of the game that I think people would spend maybe like $800 on a special purse.
As someone who's admitting all this,
LV.
right? It surprises me that you still hold the position that real world 3,000 bags are stupid.
Yes, I do. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I do hold that position. If you spend $5,000 on a handbag, it's pretty stupid.
So if you okay, so if you spend 3,000 in a game, okay, you're also stupid. You're also stupid.
That's also stupid. Yes.
Okay. As long as you're honest. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Listen,
as long as you're balanced.
I honestly believe if you spend, look, I think it's a bad decision.
No. You said you were stupid. That's what you said. Oh, now here we go. Welcome back.
I'm gonna qualify it.
Yeah, that's right.
It can't be stupid, because I'm kind of like that's kind of a gut reaction, and I agree. I think we all make gut reactions that, when you think about it, aren't necessarily true. Okay, and here's the preface I need to put that with that. If you can't afford it, okay, if you can afford, if you're a millionaire and you buy a rapper T-shirt, plain white T-shirt for $130, there's nothing wrong with it. You're not necessarily stupid. If you buy a $5,000 bag, if you're a multimillionaire, you're not stupid. Okay, the problem is if you buy these items and you're not a millionaire, or you don't have the disposable income for it, and then you're stupid.
Sure.
That's my preface. Preface.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, I'd never disputed that. Yeah, if you're buying luxury goods in the real world, you should have the financial means to, where it doesn't hurt you to do that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I wouldn't buy any clothing if it exceeded $50. The Lonesome Gamer, I'm with you on that as well. I don't spend much money on real life clothes or virtual clothes.
No, I think $50 is too low a bar. Like a good pair of shoes, I will spend $100 on a good pair of shoes, but it will last me years. Like it'll last me longer than like 2 pairs of $50 shoes, I feel. Maybe, who knows? So my cutoff is like,
or you go for the 300 IQ play. Instead of buying $100 pair of shoes, you buy $10 pairs of shoes. It'll last you.
Then it's not gonna be comfortable. There's no way a $10 shoe is gonna be comfortable unless it's like from China and it's like a good like knockoff.
Yeah, you get a $10 shoe from Walmart, or like a $15 shoe. Who knows? It might be more comfortable.
I don't think so.
Perhaps. All right, back to Bless. Let me see if there's anything else on Bless over there. But yeah, the game's coming out on the 28th. I thought the pretty enlightening interview on MMORPG.com. I'm looking forward to playing. I think every MMORPG though should have that kind of system where you can get cashed out currency in game by doing dailies, or just this guy. I think it's just like the best kind of cash up reward, because like every game has events and they rarely give good rewards. If you can ever get cash up rewards from an event, it's a good event. That's kind of like my bar for like an event that's actually good. It just they don't have to give it out like that regularly, but just being able to get cash up stuff without spending money in some small way, I think it'd be a net positive for the game, because it kind of keeps players invested and keep playing.
Yeah, I think every game should have the system that like Neverwinter or all the cryptic games have, where there's an easy conversion, or LBN Online, between the premium and non-premium currency, so you can always see the rate. You can kind of see the rate, because just seeing that just seeing that exchange rate
World
gives
of
you a lot of
Warcraft has
information. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I like that. All right, I do.
Uh,
Okay, I want to quickly go to Fortnite for a second, to prove that I was wrong. Okay, so I think you guys will enjoy this. I've been harping against esports for a while now, and I thought this would be the year it kind of peaks and it kind of peters out because it's not really viable. But I was wrong. So just this week, Epic, which owns Fortnite, announced they're going to spend $100 million on prize pools for Fortnite this year. That is a huge amount. This alone will guarantee that esports grows this year. So I'm definitely wrong. And to put this in context, so 100 million is the lifetime payout from Dota 2, which is the number one esports for payouts. Okay, the lifetime prize pool payout of all tournaments for Dota 2, including by Valve and non-Valve tournaments, is like 150 million. So in 1 year, they're almost they almost caught up. Number three, I believe, is League or Overwatch or Counter-Strike, but this already surpassed them. So this is already number 2 now in lifetime esports payout.
Pretty impressive in 1 year, and it's such a popular game. And now they mentioned Fortnite, we got to mention. You know how many players Fortnite has? They released an interesting statistic.
I know, it's 40 million.
Yeah, 40 million monthly active players. So now we can finally get an apples-to-apples comparison between Fortnite and League of Legends and all the popular games, because now there's official data directly from the company. So put that number into context. League of Legends has about 100 million monthly active users. So Fortnite is about halfway as popular as League right now. Keep in mind, though, Fortnite is like a year old or less than a year old, whereas League's been out for like 10 years. So,
more importantly,
Cat Mobile.
No, not just that. China. Fortnite is not out.
China,
yeah. When the Fortnite launches in China, if it catches on, right? That's 50 million players right there, I think. So it'll pass League if it hits in China.
And then, this is not counting mobile users either. This is just PC and console. So, and put other big games in context. CS:GO gets about 11 million monthly active players. Dota 2 gets about 10 million monthly active players. So Fortnite is already so much bigger than all these other games.
Yep.
It's like the second or third biggest PC game probably behind League of Legends in terms of players.
Indeed. So yeah, esports is still a thing, guys. It's still growing. I was once again premature in my calling esports as a fad or not viable.
Well, now that we talked about what you were wrong about, I think we should talk about what you were right about. Because this week, just yesterday actually, Tencent announced that they acquired a majority stake in Grinding Gear Games. And I think you made this prediction like a few podcasts, like a year ago or so. You said this exact thing would happen, and it happened. Oh
yeah, I think it was a screaming buy. There are so few large games today that are independent, and you saw them all being bought up by Chinese companies. So you got Digital Extremes with Warframe, Jagex with RuneScape. These were all gobbled up by Chinese companies because they saw the value. There's so many people playing these games, and these aren't part of like a huge company that's too big to be bought out, like Blizzard, So they got gobbled up. And Grinding Gear Games is in New Zealand. It's a relatively small studio, though not too small, and I'll get to that why that's important. So yeah, they got gobbled up by Tencent, and Tencent owns 80% now, which is a large controlling stake. And I actually have a little chart here from the New Zealand government homepage. Shows you the share ownership here. So this chunk right here, 80% is Tencent. And there are 3 other guys who own a decent chunk. So I guess the founder, who is Christopher Wilson, owns 13% still. And 2 other...
Very, Western name.
Well, New Zealand is pretty white. And 2 other guys own 3.4% each. So Tencent is definitely the head honcho. And this news has actually been met by some a big backlash from the community. Actually, I don't know why. I found this subreddit, Path of Exile, and I love it. I read these comments because I found them hilarious. People were bitching about the stupidest stuff. So first of all, you had a lot of people saying it's a sellout. They're selling out. The game's gonna go pay to win now. It's gonna go shit. And these people, some of them are like, wait a minute, don't you know that Tencent owns League of Legends? And they didn't do anything bad with League of Legends, right? They're kind of a hands-off owner, Tencent. And a few other guys said something along the lines of, I'm not going to buy any more packs now because I was supporting an independent company when I bought those set. I was doing it because I was supporting independent gaming or whatever. And then so someone linked me to the article announcing this purchase. And Grinding Gear Games had over 100 employees. They're not a small independent studio, You got 100 people working, full-time employees. That is not a... Yeah. To put that in context, guys, Valve has about 360 full-time employees. So this company is about a third the size of Valve in terms of headcount. So this is not this is not two guys coding in a basement that they need every dollar you got out of charity. Okay, so a lot of subtle xenophobia going on in the subreddit for Path of Exile.
I do agree with the Limax. I mean, Tencent, despite being so big, they're actually pretty good at handling their investments. They're very hands off, and they've always been pretty hands off with every company they've purchased. They own 40% of Epic Games, but they're not like they make investments in good companies that they like, and they just leave them alone. Because I think they've realized what makes Path of Exile such a great game are the people that work there, are their founders, their vision. That's what works. That worked for League of Legends. That worked for Epic Games. Like, you leave them alone. The moment you try shoving like your strategy into their games, it obviously is not going to work, and that's why they've been so successful. They've been very good at hands-off approaches, and I don't think it's going to change with Path of Exile. And I do think we kind of glorify this idea of, it's an indie studio, we got to give them money. Like, I don't know. Ultimately, it's a product that matters. I don't really care. It's indie studio, Like, if it's a good game, and I'll support them.
Well, I think if you do have that mentality, you want to help it get off the ground floor. I can see that. If it's a small company, like when I say small, I mean like basically no official office yet. It's just some guys, in their house, right? They're kind of bootstrapping it, But if you've been in business for a decade, and every year is growth after growth, you have 100 people working for you. You have office building. You're in this huge office building. Come on, like you can still. I don't know. You shouldn't be buying their products out of charity at that point.
Yeah.
There are people who could use that, artists, perhaps that you really like, and you want to just, help buy their art.
Shows. There are games made by one person that are actually indie, That's a small studio. That's an indie studio.
Yeah. But all that said, so there's a lot of fun comments in the subreddit here. One guy says, like, I'm a conscious consumer. I will not support Tencent. They're a Chinese, conglomerate trying to take over, the world. And then I made a comment, like, you realize Tencent owns 40% of Epic Games. And Epic Games makes the Unreal Engine. So basically almost every game you're playing, Tencent's getting money out of it. So,
Stop playing video games.
You got to basically stop playing games if you don't want to give Tencent money.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very silly way to look at things, I believe. But it's their money. They can do whatever they want with it, obviously. But that's not the way I would.
We got a Tencent hater in the chat. I mean,
it's an Exile, yeah.
I mean, if they want to splash their money around, I think it's a good. Think of it this way: the guys who founded Grinding Gear Games, they brought a great game to the world, right? And I think they deserve that fat paycheck at the end of 10 plus years of working on the game. And by the way, they're still going to be working on the game. They said this won't change anything. They're going to continue, updating it, etc.
They said they actually hire more employees to work on the game. They're increasing their size from like 110 to 130 or something. So
yeah, they're going to be using the money to
exactly
to grow the game. So I think it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. I think so as well. It might change in the future, but right now, generally, Tencent has done a pretty good job with their game studio. And with that, I want to take it to maybe one last thing real quick before we get to the post game. But back to GDPR. Remember that discussion out there about the general data protection in Europe that we talked about a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I remember.
So there was a comment on MMOs.com about Ragnarok Online's GDPR, and actually they approached it a little bit differently than I thought. So I'm going to link you a comment somebody made. Maybe we can just look at that on stream.
Sure.
But essentially, what this guy's complaining about is that he has essentially played Ragnarok Online for 16 years. Right?
Wow.
It's an old game. And now he's pissed off because the new GDPR law didn't just make them block EU IPs. They literally banned everyone that ever registered to the game from Europe. Your account is banned now. So it's not like you could just leave Europe and keep playing Ragnarok Online. If you register from Europe, you can no longer play on international Ragnarok Online. So he's mega pissed off.
So there's no way to save his character or anything.
Nope. He says, despite playing, there's no way for me to transfer to another character or anything. And this move actually destroyed, some of the major guilds that were European led on international Ragnarok Online. Like these are players who could never log in again after that.
Wow. Can you imagine that? Hey, where's the guildmaster? Oh, he lives in Germany. Yes, so? Oh, he can't play anymore. He's banned.
There's no VPN.
He's banned. Why is he banned? He's German. Oh, okay.
But like that's such a bad thing. I think at the end of he complained. He basically said at the end, "There's a very bad company to be supporting right now." But I think he kind of took a misguided approach. I don't think it's necessarily Gravity's fault in this. I think the rules are very onerous and they couldn't afford to take a risk. Plus, they already had the game licensed to a company in Europe, so you can still play Ragnarok Online in Europe. You just have to play it through European Ragnarok. It's a separate server, right? And they licensed it for Gravity. So it was. I guess Gravity just figured, fuck, we don't want to deal with this bullshit. It costs too much money to implement, so we're just gonna ban all these accounts and let those guys play on the European version, But it's still kind of sad.
I think you
that,
can't blame Gravity. You know why?
Why?
Because what they could have done is announce it ahead of time and then give people a way to transfer their servers and characters to the other servers.
But you can't. It's
I mean, you can't. Why?
it's not the same company even. It's
So?
being it licensed from.
But don't you think the other company would be happy to get free users?
No. Are you kidding? Yeah. They could
So
have given
if
free
War
users.
Portal is giving up on these players, right? They no longer are interested in monetizing them or dealing with it. So why didn't they allow character and even if the databases or even like the versions are not the same, they could have literally manually created new characters with the same stats and then just literally the same names and just transfer them over.
You give me too much credit to War Portal's resources. You know how much money? I think Ragnarok makes a lot of money in the
Well,
Western
first of all,
world.
let's say they announced it 6 months ahead of time. How many people? And you got to sign up to, and you got to give your account name, which characters you want to transfer. How many people would have even bothered? Obviously, it was a small player base, or else they wouldn't have done this. So come on, like they could have done. A lot of services do that.
They did do a refund, I think, for everyone. Anyone that spent money, they got refunded. So they did get that.
I think they could have transferred the characters.
Sure, maybe.
The database isn't. I don't care how they. I'm just literally saying, give a period of 3 months where anybody can literally send in their account name and their character, and then somebody can literally just go in and create a new, and then with the help of the other company, they can just literally copy over with GM powers. Yeah, all the characters and items. Yeah, you're right. There's different items.
It could have been done manually.
Yes, there's different items. Just don't give the items that don't exist in the version that's still running. I think it would have been a good. It would at least shown goodwill, and instead of saying, F this, F you guys, we're done, basically.
Yeah, it's true. And the people say that the game's server probably dropped from 800 to 200 overnight on the day of the announcement, and hasn't recovered since. So I think a lot of Europeans were playing on the American servers.
Wow,
pretty crazy. So there's one negative effect of GDPR on Ragnarok Online so far.
Yeah, indeed. And like we said last week, a few games that shut down, including Loadout and Super Monday Night Combat. But actually, I was surprised that there was so few shutdowns. Because remember, it came into effect tomorrow. It comes into effect tomorrow. And I've actually been surprised by how little. Because there's a lot of bad games. There's a lot of small games out there that I thought would shut down because of this. So hasn't been as big impact as I thought it would be.
Yeah, we'll learn anything else happens soon. I think the rules go into effect soon, right? Or have they already gone into effect?
Tomorrow.
I keep getting emails about it still. So
yeah, if you guys have, I think I mentioned this. If you guys are getting lots of emails this week by all these companies you signed up for like years ago, like eBay, Microsoft, from like Yahoo. Yeah, basically anything you ever made an account for is like we've like changed our user agreement, like our privacy agreement. Please click here to like review it. That's all because of this.
Makes sense.
Indeed.
Anything else? Oh, well, we did have. There's one big thing about the third closed beta for Lost Ark is starting tomorrow. Well, May 23rd, so probably very soon because it's Korean time. Which I guess is some good news. We're finally getting some release information from Lost Ark. It's a closed beta still. It'll be their final closed beta apparently. So that game is making progress. I think we're all hyped for it when it was first announced in 2015, I think, I think it's 2015. So it's been like 3 years.
Oh yeah,
since
it's
it
been
was
a while
first
for that one.
So the hype is kind of dying down. Now I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna say that we're gonna get an open beta by the end of the year in South Korea. That's my guess. And then we'll start hearing about a Western release sometime in 2019. So I think late 2019, early 2020 is my prediction for when Lost Ark comes out. Thoughts?
Say it again. 2018.
I think we're gonna get a Korean open beta sometime in late 2018, and then we're gonna start hearing about a Western release date in late 2019, and it'll probably launch by early 2020.
Sure,
that's my guess.
2020 is fine. I can agree with early 2020 for English. Speaking of launches, Black Desert Mobile will come out in the US and Europe, and not until Q1 of 2019. So not this year. Yeah, so it's a while.
Yeah, we gotta wait for a bit, unfortunately. Beyond that, I mean, that's really we have all the big topics. There's something I'm intimately familiar with in my backyard of Final Fantasy 14. They just launched a pretty big patch. Not too much going on for me to be interested in. Let me think. Anything too exciting over there? Just going to be releasing. There's a new 24-man raid, 24-man dungeon, which is like it's a really weird system. We talked about it in previous podcasts. I always call it the welfare patch because basically, like sometime after all the new raids come out, they release that 24-man dungeon, and once you complete a 24-man dungeon, you basically get like welfare loot, where like it gets you some best in slot stuff just from doing the easy mode content. Like,
Nice.
it's a way to get the best in slot gear without actually doing a hard content. So, and the funny thing is, at the end of that 24-man dungeon, you literally get a coin. So it's like literally the welfare office, because you get your coin. You're only doing it for the coin, all right? You're doing the grind for that coin to get your welfare gear.
That's pretty funny. This isn't really MMO news, but if you open your Battle.net launcher, guys, you will see a new game on the list. The new Call of Duty is launching on Battle.net instead of on Steam, and it will not have a single-player campaign. It's going to be the first Call of Duty without one. And I don't know. I feel like this is another death blow to the whole single-player campaign in games. I remember when we were growing up, basically every game, even multiplayer-heavy games, like whether it's Halo, GoldenEye 007 for N64, they always had those. Even RTS games had these nice full-feature campaigns, and that's just a dying genre. Like Overwatch, for example, has no campaign.
But they have the co-op missions. Remember we played a couple.
All right, they have one co-op mission.
Yeah, and also Overwatch is not a full price game. It wasn't a $60 title. I think it launched was like 30 or 40.
It was 40, I think.
Yeah,
it was 40.
So it wasn't. It was $60 on console, $40 on PC.
Yeah. Plus, that was full price then. And the difference, I guess, is just the cut that the Sony or Xbox get that they don't have to give on if they sell it on PC.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone
was regular. Let me ask what game we were talking about before. The Gravity Ragnarok online.
All right. Well, with that, I think it's time to move on to the post game.
Yeah, then we covered most of the topics this week on the actual podcast. We'll see what else we got for the post game. Thanks for watching, everyone, though. And as always, Fridays and Tuesdays, 4 p.m. PST. If you're listening to us on iTunes or elsewhere, leave us that quality 5-star review. Not sure what it does, but who knows? Might do something. But thanks for watching for YouTube.
All right.
And listeners,
See ya.
later for YouTube.